Greetings, peace and blessings. How's everybody doing today? Gosh, I don't know where you guys are in the world, but for the last couple days since we've had the full moon in Leo, Los Angeles is beautiful. It's so profound. Like, look at that sky, and it's just been really, there's been a real shift. And of course, as soon as I get started talking, here go these loud ass people with their machines making noise. So the Leo full moon came in a couple of days ago. Welcome. The Leo full moon came in a couple of days ago, and the Leo energy is the energy that is our authentic creative expression. It's the thing in us that divides us from everything else, right? I cannot press upon you guys. Hey, Sugar, how are you? Thank you, Evolve. I cannot press upon you how important it is for us to understand ourselves and our unique qualities and live into that. We have, up till now, for many years, lived in a culture in the age of Pisces where there was this sort of collective agreement. You know, we were all Christians. As Black people, when I grew up as a Black person, I didn't know Black people who weren't Christians. I knew that Islam was around, but for the majority, we were Christians, and we all went to the same school. I remember when we used to all watch the same thing every night on television. I remember, Wednesday night, we all watched this. And this sort of collective agreements and patterns and practices conditioned us and programmed us all to believe certain things and to behave certain ways. It's the culture, like we didn't know it because we were born into it. It's really a fish to water kind of experience. And the culture is there to indoctrinate for the purpose of control. And I don't want to make that be a negative thing, because we're in a human experience here in the earth realm, and everything has its value. It really does. Whether we like it or not, we are in a human experience, and we get to have all these types of everything counts. Everything counts. And there are aspects of us that are in resistance to the fullness of our human experience because things are painful. But that doesn't matter. Everything counts. Really, it all does. So with this energy in Leo, it's asking us to be true to our own nature. Hold on one second. The energy of Leo is asking us to be true to our own nature. And to be true to your nature, you have to know who you are. This is not an egoic belief or an egoic practice. Knowing who you are created to be, who the creator that is you, the higher aspect of yourself, created you to be, is a journey of discovery. It's not something, in my experience, that you're going to just snap into and it's like, oh my gosh. And most of us don't know who we are because, like I said, we've been indoctrinated and enculturated and conditioned in behaviors and practices and beliefs that have us be very, very, very far away from who we are. So for instance, for me, I'll just say, one of the things that, for me, I grew up in object poverty, right? Like in the United States. I have not been all over the world, but I've been in other places in the world. I've really seen what poverty can look like, and it doesn't look like Western poverty. I'm going to say that. It really doesn't. Western poverty is not as much about money as we think it is. Western poverty is about spiritual bankruptcy. That's what Western poverty is. It's spiritual bankruptcy. We think it's about money, and we think it's about healthcare, and we think it's about education, but all that stuff is all bullshit, because you can heal yourself with herbs, you can educate yourself on your own, and you can You can heal yourself with herbs. You can educate yourself. And you don't need a governing authority over you. You don't need anybody to tell you how to be. And all the systems in the Western world are just made up constructs, basically. It's all just made up bullshit. So the thing is about really being able to know who you are separate from these structures that have been put in place that we've all been conditioned in. We all have been conditioned in. I remember when I was a little girl and I used to feel like I was doomed because I was a black girl. I used to feel doomed because how could I, look at me, I'm like fabulous. I'm like, and I felt doomed as a black girl. I felt like my life was going to be filled with suffering and chaos and turmoil because I was black. And that is the conditioning of the culture. That's not my God self. That's not my soul self. So I had to really go in and do the work to find out, what does the Creator say about me? What does the Creator say that I am? Who does the Creator say that I am? And how did I do that? I studied my natal chart so I could realize and I could see where I was lost, right? So in my life, I was, you guys, I was very, very, very anchored in a desire for romance. I cannot explain how much that took my energy. All I wanted was a man. And sometimes I feel ashamed saying it, but it's the conditioning, the culture. It's like, you're nothing without a man. When I was growing up, all the magazines, because we didn't have the internet, right? So all we had was magazines, and all the magazines was, what does he need? How do you please him? How to make him happy? What does your man want? How to keep him home? Everything was that. Everything was that. And then the Christian narrative was, be a virtuous woman, how to serve your man, make God. It was all craziness. It was all insanity. So I couldn't access anything that was true to who I was, because everything, all the narratives in my life were anchored towards me externalizing my energy, my power, my essence to capture a man. So I became this thing that didn't, I was very dependent on, the view of a man and the perspective of a man. And if a man wanted me, and we still see that today in our culture. The majority of black girls portrayed were biracial. Yes, that's true. And we still see it in our culture where women don't have a center if it's not around a man or children. And if you don't have a center, if you can't be yourself as a woman, then you really are the greatest deficit to your family, to yourself and your community than anything else. A lost woman is more impactful than not having money. A lost woman is more impactful than illness, because a woman is the center of fucking reality, and she is generating through her subconscious powers that which she believes about herself and projecting onto everyone around her, whether she fucking knows it or not. That's the thing. Our culture doesn't teach us about the power of the feminine. So most of us are grabbing and grasping and looking for something external, man, child, some idea of beauty or external life, and missing that we have to create it from within us, because we generate the reality. So when we have people telling us what is beauty, what is wealth, what is well-being, what is blackness, when we have other systems dictating to us who we are fucking it all up. We are fucking up everything when we're doing that. And so it becomes your responsibility to actually become responsible for creating your identity based upon your divinity. And nobody can do it but you. Nobody can tell you who you are but you. Nobody can tell you how to think but you. Nobody can. And here's the thing. When you understand how the system works, all you need to know is that your thoughts are the power in your life. Your thoughts are your authority. So if you are in your mind with he did this and she said that and they don't do this and da 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 da, that is the authority, and that's the signal that you're sending out to the reality. If you're in your mind with I don't have enough and da 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 and he can't and she don't and how come they ain't and da da da, then that is the signal that you're sending out. And because you are the feminine. So if you are, everybody has feminine energy, right? If you're a woman, you are generating the reality. If you are a man and you have feminine energy, that is what you're generating inside of yourself. You're generating that inside of yourself. If you're a woman, whatever you're thinking, you're generating that outside of yourself. As a man, whatever you're thinking, you're generating that inside of yourself. So it is very important. And the thing that I've discovered is that it has to be consistent. I had to absolutely create an entire reality of who I really am and get locked and keyed into it like an avatar and live into it through my mind, through my ways of being, through my belief systems, through the ways that I practice and live in my life. I have to step out of that old paradigm and fully live into the truth of who I am so that the universe knows that I'm tapped in. And when the universe says, okay, she's here, then it will begin to populate my reality with what it is I am signaling through the energy. But you have to do the work to heal the trauma of the bullshit. Now, that has been the deepest work for me because my trauma has been around my ability to trust my feminine energy, to trust. And why is it hard to trust the feminine energy for some and for me? Because it's invisible. It's invisible. It's not going to show up. The feminine energy is the most powerful energy on the planet, and you cannot fucking see it. It's not going to walk up in your face like, yeah, what's up? Da, da, da. It's like, can you feel it? What was that whisper in your ear? Is your heart open? Can you breathe in it? It is invisible. So you have to become sensitive enough to experience the energy and the nuances. And you have to do the rituals to make yourself open and receptive to it. Otherwise, you will miss it. Otherwise, you are going to miss it. So as a woman, you are constantly building a reality. That is how it works. And this is why I follow the moon, because the moon is the subtle psychic powers. And it is the sure way to align yourself to your true energy. Why? Because the moon rules the water on the planet, and it rules our reproductive systems. And if you look at the mythology of the moon pulls. The moon is a magnet. It's pulling. And what is it pulling out of you? Your true nature. The moon is magnetizing your true nature out of you. That's why the mythology is like you turn into a werewolf when you're in the moon, right? When you're in the power of the moon. Men turn into werewolves. Why? Because it's magnetizing the animal out of you, right? So if as women, when we begin to wake up and we follow those moon cycles and the water and our emotions and we feel, it will magnetize out of us our divinity. It will magnetize the goddess out of you, because what's inside of you has to come into the full expression. So with this Leo full moon, we are here to come into our true self. And here's the thing. When you begin to magnetize your true nature, nothing can come nigh your dwelling place. You are a reality unto yourself. So you cannot, nothing can come and harm you, except that if you invite things that harm you, if you invite thoughts that are harmful, if you invite doubt, but it's all through invitation. It's all through consciousness. And that's the world we're beginning to live in, you all. As this system comes undone, consciousness is the new king. If you want to be rich, you better have a rich consciousness. If you want to be healthy, you better have a healthy consciousness. If you want to be related and loved, you better have a consciousness that is of relatedness and love. If you want to be magical, you must have a consciousness that is anchored in the magic and the mystery of the universe. It's up to you. So, so if you guys want to learn how to do the work that I teach, it's life transforming. I'm telling you, you guys, like, I'm one badass motherfucker. I am an incredible, incredible teacher. And the people that are working with me, lives are changing in the most intimate ways that then turn into be the most profound things. See, like, we want change to happen. You know, we want to go from light to dark immediately, but it doesn't work that way. That's not how it works. And that's why most of us cannot really anchor into the change that we desire, because it's subtle. It's soft. And you have to do the deep internal work first. And then when you do the deep internal work, it transmutes and it flips your reality from the inside out. It's magic. And I just love it, because I couldn't function in the old world. Like, I couldn't go to work. I couldn't work for anybody. It was so painful. I couldn't work for anybody. I've never been able to do traditional love relationships. I just am not, I'm not somebody's wife. Like, I can't do it. I'm not made that way. You know, I'm not somebody's little girlfriend. I tried, though. I tried to do it. I tried to be somebody's wife. I tried to be an employee. I tried to be a good Christian. And none of that shit suited me. It didn't fit my energy. And so I was forcing it, right? But the minute I was like, this ain't right, everything has started to come. And so I don't do money the way I used to. I don't do anything, because I follow the energy. And when I follow the energy, so like, if my money tightens up, I'm like, oh, the energy is tightening up. It means that I need to come and be more internal. So I don't need to go push, and they're like, market. No. I will come out when it's time, and I will share. And then it opens up. Like, it's really a process of relating to the reality and the energies. And it becomes a really endearing and joyful experience, because you get to see how magical you are. You get to see how the universe is truly conspiring for your well-being. So I invite you guys, the next moon cycle starts on the 13th, and we're going to be doing the new moon in Pisces, the full moon in Virgo. The new moon in Pisces, Virgo, this is the energy, the axis of healing is what this is. So if there are areas in your life that you are ready to open up into healing at the seed stage, right? You're going to start at the seed stage. We're not talking about this overnight wham bam, thank you. This is not an ego thing. This is you beginning to seed the energy of healing in your life, in your psyche, in your subconscious, through doing the rituals of the Piscean energy. And it will show up. It will manifest. So when you work with the moon, you do the rituals, and when the new moon is in Pisces, and then it manifests when the full moon is in Pisces 6 months later. That's why we have to understand the cycles of gestation and what creation really is and how it actually moves through the system. It's a season. It does. So if you guys want to begin to open up into your own healing, you know, one of the things I will say about my work, I'm a teacher of teachers. I am a teacher of teachers. And that doesn't mean that if you are not a teacher, you can't come and work with me, because you can. But what that means is that my work is about devotion and practice and consistency. And so if you are ready to be consistent, if you are ready to show up for yourself. And here's the thing, you can heal anything. If you have fear, you can heal the fear. If you have self-doubt, that can be healed. That's what healing is about. You want to heal the self-doubt. You want to heal your scarcity mindset. You want to heal the drama of your family and the trauma. You know, I just spent the last week or so celebrating my son's 16th birthday, and this has been a journey of healing my masculine energy, because we all have masculine and feminine. And so I had a very toxic relationship with my father. And because of that, I had a painful relationship with men. But when I realized that it was just a projection of my pattern with my father, I stopped blaming the men in my life for being assholes and not showing up. I started realizing I'm the feminine, so I'm generating this reality out of my patterns with my father and my beliefs that he instilled in me. And so when I cast that net from my father from inside of me, the energy that it sends out shows up with men who mirror my father to me. And my father was a pimp. So I have had a tendency to attract men in their stage of sort of that pimpish energy, right? That sort of masculine dominant that's like slick and hey baby and right? And it just renders you powerless and you just sort of don't have a sense of self anymore. So I had to heal that inside of me because that was my pattern with my parents. I saw them do that dynamic. So that dynamic was anchored in me, and I spent the last 16 years healing that so that my son wouldn't repeat the patterns that I have with men, so that he wouldn't become the thing that I was afraid of men being. If I create a human being who is a man and I'm afraid of men, I'm going to put in him energetically the things that I'm afraid of men. And so then he will go out in the world and become the very thing that I don't want him to become. So I had to heal it in myself. Heal the beliefs, heal the judgments, do the rituals, heal my beliefs around my father, understand that really, and this is not a theoretical work. These are practical things, getting in the body, doing the work. This work is deep, but it changes your motherfucking life. And now I have a child who the doctors were like, he's going to have Down, he ain't this, he ain't that. And he is thriving because I am not projecting my subconscious limitations onto him based upon my relationship with my father. Come on now. Y'all going to I know this is not church, but y'all better give me an amen. Thank you. I prayed that prayer over the twins last night. I'm consciously doing that's right. That's right. So I invite you guys to join the next follow the 13 moons. We start on the 13th. It's $111 a month. There are people who work with me for a year or more, working with me every month to uproot the old patterns and plant new ones. Not for themselves only, but for their children and their families and their communities. And this is the work of the feminine. This is the work of women to really understand that we are the active creators of this reality, and they are all responding to us. And if we don't get it, we're fucking it up. And we're going to stay in this karmic cycle. And the women are going to suffer because everyone is following us, not the other way around. So you guys can go in my link tree and you can join 13 Moons or just join Follow the Sun. You can get all my updates. You can join my email list. And I will keep you posted on what I'm up to. I love you guys very much. Peace and blessings. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.